Good day and welcome to AGK's Vinyl Life. I'm your host, Anthony K. And on this impromptu mini episode, I'm going to show you guys what I picked up yesterday, Boxing Day, December 26th, at the $3.33 vinyl record sale. A good friend of mine called me early yesterday morning, woke me up, said, Anthony, get your butt out of bed. We're going to a record sale. And it was at one of our favorite haunts, record store haunts. And so I said, you know what? I got nothing going on. What the heck? Let's do it. I hadn't been to a Boxing Day record store sale probably since the 80s. I used to go to them all the time as a teenager here in Toronto. I'd go to the famous Sam the Record Man at Yonge and Dundas Boxing Day sale. It was legendary. People would line up down the street to go to it. Back in those days, you would pick up brand new albums for $2 or $3. Great albums for $2 or $3. You know, things like Dark Side of the Moon for $2 or $3, sealed, brand new albums. I even, of course, worked at Sam the Record Man for a couple of years part-time. But yeah, I used to go always with my friends to those Boxing Day record sales when I was a teen and in my early 20s. But I haven't been to one probably since the 80s. I've never rushed to even get up on Boxing Day, let alone go out the door to a record sale or any sort of sale. So I did it. We headed down, and I remember getting an email from this record store the night before saying that they were indeed having this sale and that they were putting out 1,000 records at $5 each, or 3 for $10, which calculates out to $3.33. So I said, you know what the heck? Let's get there early. Well, the pickings are good, so we did. We got there right when the store opened at 9 o'clock. We got there, and there were a lot of people there, and we dug through the crates. They had crates of records set up all around the store with these records in them. Now, these weren't what I would classify as dollar bin records that they were selling for 3 for $10. Some of them might have been maybe $5 records, but most of the stuff I got normally would have been $10 records. Some of them even $20 or $30 records. That's right, $20 or $30 records. They had all sorts of records. It certainly wasn't dollar bin records. And as you will see by most of these, they are in VG plus to VG plus plus. A couple of them are near mint. So an amazing sale. I left the cover on the first one here just so you could see that they were indeed $5 each. I left the slip jacket on this first one just so you could see that they were $5 each. But yeah, they were $5 each or 3 for $10, $3.33. So let's go through them. I got 15 records for a grand total of $50. Amazing. The first one is Bachman Turner Overdrive Head On. This was their 5th album following Four Wheel Drive. Probably their last really great album. I would think Bachman Turner Overdrive's real gems were Not Fragile, Four Wheel Drive, and Head On. Freeways, their 6th album, followed this, and it wasn't too bad, but after that they kind of died off. They just didn't produce quality records. But this is a great one. Still in what I would say a good VG plus condition with the original poster style jacket. The idea was it was perforated and you'd open up into a poster, and then there was an inner slip, an inner cover to keep your record in. So Head On, Bachman Turner Overdrive, great spin. Some classic Canadian rock for you. That was my first $3.33 record. Next up, I didn't have any Culture Club in my collection, so it was nice to pick this up. And this one is like minty. This is really good. This is a strong VG+, no ring wear. The vinyl is immaculate. And it is the Culture Club 12 Worldwide Hits. It's a greatest hits album. Basically gives you everything you'd ever want from the Culture Club. A really great collection from their first 4 years, as it said. And it's got all the great ones, you know, Karma Chameleon, Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, I'll Tumble For You, and so many more. Finally got some Culture Club in my collection of vinyl, something I needed. So that was my second $3.33 record. So as you can see, these are all great albums. Albums that definitely would not go. Maybe a couple of them would go for $5 regularly, but most of them wouldn't. Most of these records would go a minimum of $10 or more in the record stores I shop at. Absolutely, they would go for $10 or more, and the gems at the very bottom of this pile would go for $20 to $30 or more. Third one I picked up. for $3.33. I needed to get this one back in my collection. This is a really, really minty copy, like I mean really minty, of the classic Max Webster, Canadian band, fronted by Kim Mitchell. Max Webster's third album, Mutiny Up My Sleeve. This is one of only 2 Max Webster albums I don't have on vinyl. So happy to get this in my collection. This is a reissue. Anthem reissue, but as you can see, it's in really, really spectacular condition. $3.33. Finally, getting Mutiny Up My Sleeve back in my collection. The big songs on here, I would say, would have been Lip Service, Astonish Me, The Party, and Beyond the Moon. Great, great, great album. I highly recommend. Max Webster, Mutiny Up My Sleeve. Next one is kind of a mini grail for me in a way. It's an album you do see occasionally, and when you do see it, it is pretty trashed. And I've been trying to get a copy of this back in my collection for years. I used to have this one. Trying to get a copy of this back in my collection for years. And when I do see them, they're either really pricey, over $20, or they're really trashed. So for $3.33, I finally got the Outlaws' debut album back in my collection. And this one, as you can see, is really, really minty fresh. Really minty fresh. This is a strong VG++. Absolutely. Beautiful condition. Love this album. So happy to get this one back in my collection. As you can see, it's still got the original inner on Arista Records, The Outlaws, and their debut album with the spectacular Green Grass and High Tides on it. So happy to get that for $3.33. The next one is a pretty common album. I see of it around every once in a while. This one normally goes for around $8 to $10. It's one of the holes in my Ellen Parsons collection that I have most of the Ellen Parsons library, but I did not have a copy of this. Stereotomy from 1987, I believe this was, from the Ellen Parsons Project. This is also a very strong VG plus to plus plus. Just a tiny bit of ring wear on the cover. The vinyl's in absolutely immaculate condition. Stereotomy, the Ellen Parsons Project. The great songs on here would have been Limelight and Limelight Urbana, Stereotomy. A great spin. Ellen Parsons Project, Stereotomy, $3.33. Next up is an album I never ever see. I see a lot of other Rick Wakeman albums all the time in the $5 bins and $10 bins. It's pretty easy to pick up most Rick Wakeman's 70s material in the $5 bins. I've never seen this one ever in used in probably since this album came out. This is a real rare one. I never ever see it. It's called No Earthly Connection. This is also a really, really strong VG plus. The cover is immaculate in it. It's still got the original, cardboard inner. The vinyl's immaculate. Great to add this to my Rick Wakeman collection. No Earthly Connection by Rick Wakeman. This was a mid-70s, I think, 1975 or 76, something like that. Very cool to find this one, $3.33. The next one is the third, and I didn't know this one existed. This is the third in the Secret Policeman's Ball series. Of course, the Secret Policeman's Ball for Amnesty International. The first one was fronted and started by Pete Townsend of The Who. And there was a second. I didn't know there was a third. And apparently the Secret Policeman's Ball has continued to go on for years and years and years. I've never seen this particular album before. So happy to pick this one up. As you can see, it was for Amnesty International. And this is the Secret Policeman's third ball. It's a good, strong VG+. And I picked it up because of the list of artists on here. Even for a few songs alone, it was worth it. Kate Bush, Running Up the Hill with David Gilmour on guitar. Duran Duran, Save a Prayer. Lou Reed, Voices of Freedom with Jackson Browne, Peter Gabriel. Bob Geldof, Jackson Browne, Erasure, Nick Kershaw, Joan Armatrading, Mark Knopfler and Chet Atkins. Peter Gabriel featuring Lou Reed, Youssou N'Dour, Rick Bell, Papa, I can't even pronounce these names. But it's a live album of live performances. But even just for the Kate Bush, the Duran Duran for me, the Erasure, the Mark Knopfler, the Peter Gabriel, just for those few tracks alone, it was definitely worth $3.33. Next up was another hole in my collection. I used to have this album years ago. This was the debut album from an electronic artist called Synergy. This would be in the Kraftwerk vein, I would say. This is all Moog synthesizer music. This was a mid-70s release. This was definitely in the vein of Kraftwerk, things like that. All electronic. I think it was Larry Fast. Yeah, Larry Fast was the fellow that was Synergy. And this is a fantastic album, and really nice to get this one back in my collection. I occasionally see it for like, $10, $8 or $10 around, but nice to pick this one up in a really good VG Plus condition for on Passport Records for $3.33 with such brilliant things on it as Slaughter on 10th Avenue. That is just fantastic. Slaughter on 10th Avenue. Really, really highly recommend it if you want some really good 70s electronic music. Synergy, their debut album. And this was from, I believe, 1975. Yeah, mid-70s, 1975. So really happy to find that one, $3.33. The next one is from Byron Lee and the Dragoneers, a Jamaican band. It's not reggae music. It's got some tropical influences. But I have a couple other Byron Lee albums. Byron Lee, I first discovered. Byron Lee and the Dragoneers, I first discovered as they played in the soundtrack of Dr. No, the James Bond film Dr. No. They played Jump Up on that soundtrack. And I've got a couple other Byron Lee and the Dragoneers albums. This is a Jamaican import, and this one's called Soft Lee Volume 4. Soft Lee Volume 4. And I'm looking forward to spinning this. Byron Lee and the Dragoneers. So you don't see these too often. A great cheesecake cover. A lot of the Byron Lee covers did have a cheesecake cover. Still in the original shrink. What the heck, for $3.33. I like Byron Lee and the Dragoneers, but the covers were $3.33 alone. Next up, we're getting down to the last few here. Next up is an album that I've been watching for, and I do see it every once in a while, but most of the time it's trashed or it's the reissue with the non-gatefold. I was hoping to find one with the original gatefold, with the die-cut gatefold, with the targets on it, and I found one. This is Trooper Hot Shots, legendary Canadian band Trooper. This is their greatest hits album. Original first press with the on MCA Records with the gatefold, and it's in the cover's a little bit worn, but not too bad. The vinyl's immaculate, but this is a great spin. Boys in the Wood, Bright White Sports Car, Baby Won't You Please Come Home, General Hand Grenade, Two for the Show, Santa Maria, We're Here for a Good Time, Not a Long Time, Pretty Lady and More, Raise a Little Hell. This is just a greatest hits album. Great to finally get it back. And when you do see it, like I said, they're either trashed or they normally average $10 to $20 range when you do see them in the record stores. So fantastic to get that back in the collection. Next up, Paula Abdul. This is a nice minty, fresh copy of Paula Abdul, Forever Your Girl. I've been looking to get a copy of this for quite some time. Always enjoyed this album. Straight Up, Cold Hearted, The Way You Love Me, Knocked Out, Opposites Attract. It's just a great late 80s pop spin. Paula Abdul, Forever Your Girl. And continuing on, a group I didn't have in my vinyl collection, 10cc. And of course, this is 10cc. And greatest hits, 1972 to 1978. This album always goes for $10 to $20. This is a really super clean copy. As you can see, it's a strong VG plus. The vinyl is immaculate, with, of course, the classic I'm Not in Love. Worth the price of the album alone. $3.33. Couldn't go wrong. 10cc's greatest hits. And now the last three are definitely super grails for me. Well, not super grails, but definitely grails. The first one, Blue Oyster Cult. This is one of only a couple Blue Oyster Cult albums I actually don't have on vinyl. And this is probably my third favorite, or tied with my three favorite Blue Oyster Cult albums. Secret Treaties, Agents of Fortune, and Fire of an Unknown Origin. are my 3 favorite Blue Oyster Cult albums, and I never ever see this one used. Ever, ever, ever. I never see this one used. This one's in a really strong VG plus to plus plus condition. $3.33. You can't go wrong. Of course, this had the classic Fire of an Unknown Origin, Burning for You, Veteran of the Psychic Wars, which appeared in the Heavy Metal film. Heavy Metal, the Black and Silver, Joan Crawford. This is just a spectacular, spectacular spin. As far as I'm concerned, one of Blue Oyster Cult's 3 best albums, hands down. Finally got a copy back in my collection for $3.33. And the last 2, this is not really a grail. I do see this album a lot. And it normally goes well over $20. This album always goes for over $20 in record stores in used. And a lot of times they're trashed. I find myself a super minty fresh copy. I mean, this thing is super mint. It's, VG++ to near mint. It's in immaculate condition. Absolutely immaculate condition. And like I said, you never see this for less than $20 in the record stores. Happy. The vinyls are super clean, inners and everything. And this is one of only a couple Scorpion albums I actually didn't have on vinyl in my collection. I'm a massive Scorpions fan. I have pretty much their entire library on vinyl. But I always was missing this one. I had this on CD, but I never had it on vinyl. So I find this for that amazing Boxing Day sale, $3.33 deal price, going gone. Scorpions Worldwide Live. And last but not least, check it out, people. Led Zeppelin Presence. Can you believe this? Led Zeppelin Presence. A first Canadian press. First Canadian press. This normally goes for over $20, sometimes over $30. The cover's in a good VG plus condition. It's a little bit discolored. I guess it's not super white anymore, but that doesn't matter. It's got no seam splits, no nothing. It's in really great shape. The vinyl is in beautiful condition, has the original inner sleeve, and it's in gorgeous condition. The grail of the day, the find of the day, Led Zeppelin Presence. One of my 3 favorite Led Zeppelin albums of all time. Led Zeppelin Presence. What a spectacular find for a Boxing Day. And that is my Boxing Day $3.33 vinyl haul. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys in my next video. And as I always say, rock and roll.